watch later. Okay, so the Community First Foundation is going to help you guys with your profile issues. If you have trouble logging in, if you have any questions about the money. So they do all the back-end accounting, the tax letters, all of that comes through the Community First Foundation. The best way to reach them is by email, and I will put that in the chat. And we'll explain a little bit about how the organizations work together, us as Regional Champion and Community First Foundation running the statewide event. So it is actually a year-round opportunity to raise money. So your profile lives there all year round. So if you don't have another means, or you have a more expensive means by which you can raise online money, you can switch over to your Colorado Gives portal and use that year round. We actually collect our Community Emergency Relief Fund, SERF funds, through Colorado Gives port. And it works very well. It's just a 2% credit card fee, and donors can cover that. So those of you who are brand new to the site will find that it is a good, affordable online giving site. Community First Foundation sends the tax letters for you. So your donors will get a tax letter from the Community First Foundation that says you've made a donation to Bear Smart. And then you will get an email that has just their name and their email address. And then you can log into the back end of the system and you can find out if they've shared their physical address. So you can email them a thank you, you can mail them a thank you. And then once a month, you'll get a spreadsheet of all your donors with all their information. So you can make those thank yous. It's a good idea to log in between so that you can have timely thank yous, but you need to have a good understanding of what is available to you through the Community First Foundation. Those of who we have on the call here today are people who are brand new. This is their first year to have a profile. I invited those of you who started in 2020, since it was such a hectic, crazy year. And some of us might not even remember what happened in the month of December of 2020. So it's nice to maybe revisit and say, now, how does this work again? And then there are some of you who are, your organization's been on Colorado Gives for a long time, but you're new to the organization, so you can catch up here and learn about what's happening. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I'd like to pull up the back end of the profile. So when everybody can see that, I'll show you some of the details. There's a lot of information that lives when you log in to your account on Colorado Gives. There's two ways to log in. You can either log in as a donor or you can log in as a nonprofit. So you want to be very cognizant of that. I get lots of phone calls that people are having trouble logging in and they're actually using the wrong spot to log in. So most of the time you'll be logging in as a nonprofit, and there's a lot of tabs. So I'm going to walk through. If you click on view your profile, there's 2 rows of information. And so when you're on account administration, now there's a secondary row. I can look at my profile status. I can look at my users. I can look at my contacts. All lives under account administration. Then I go to donor information, and now I can look at the donations, the reoccurring scheduled donations, the inactive, and so forth. So every time you click on something on this level, know that it's going to pop up down here and give you options. I get lots of phone calls from organizations who have trouble finding their information, and it's a matter of learning these toolbars, that there's 2 of them, and it gives you so much information. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. Feel free to give me a call and I'll try and walk you through it. But again, Community First Foundation is the owner of all of this type of information. So specific questions will need to go to them. Something that's important while I've got this page up, I will let you know that when we start our big promotion for Colorado Gives Day, which is December 7th this year, your donors will have the opportunity to schedule their donation on November 1st. Starting on November 1st, if anyone goes to the site and tries to make a donation to you, they'll be given the option, would you like to schedule this for Colorado Gives Day on December 7th? It's the default setting, so that's typically what happens. They'd have to select, no, I really want to give just today on November 2nd. If it goes through, your donors may call you and say, hey, I tried to make a donation and it hasn't run through on my credit card. The credit card actually gets run on December 7th. So they're scheduling it to go on that day. So when we say $50 million was raised across the state on one day, it really is on one day, but we allow people 5-6 weeks to schedule their donations so that they don't have to remember on that day to make the donation. The week before, they can say, I don't want to forget, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to schedule it. On the back end, a lot of the new organizations get confused because it's going to show up as a reoccurring donation. And you're going to say to yourself, what's going on? And it's a little confusing, but that is on their end of the accounting. That's how they need to process those donations. So on December 7th, when they actually run their credit cards, then it'll show up as donors. And I get a lot of phone calls in those weeks prior that it looks like somebody set up a reoccurring donation, what's happening. And so I just want to give you that heads up. If you get those emails starting November 1st that someone's made a reoccurring donation, it's most likely that they have scheduled their donation for Gives Day on December 7th. And then on December 7th, you're going to get an email again. So I would go ahead and thank them. If you get that email, you can email them, thank them for their donation, let them know that it will actually run, their credit card will be charged on December 7th. And then you can thank them again on the 7th if you'd like. But it's one of the sticking points that we have lots of questions about. Okay. So I think I'd like to jump into some marketing things. Does anybody have any questions? You can just unmute yourselves and ask your questions regarding the Community First Foundation and what their role is in Colorado Gives Day and hosting the whole site. And then locally, we have our Southwest Colorado Gives Day. The Community Foundation acts as a regional champion, and we host swcogives.org. Your organization lives on both sites. So the local site has about 100 organizations. It makes it much easier for donors to find you. When our tagline is Give Where You Live, they can go to swcogives.org and find truly local organizations. Sally, did you have a question?
No. Okay. Thank you.
I saw you unmuted, so I thought you might have a question.
Oh, pardon me for being unmuted. Would you give a local URL again, please, Tracy?
Yes, it's swcogives.org. I'll put it in the chat. All of our local marketing will send organizations there. You guys, when you're asking for donations, you should send them directly to your profile. And I'll show you how to do that with the URL. It's going to be the / and then maybe it says GGP or something like that. And then that will take them directly to donate to you, to your donate button. But locally, if it's a broader message, like in an email blast and not your direct link, you could talk about go to swcogives.org and give where you live. Those are some of the marketing taglines that we use. If we were to go to coloradogives.org and try and search by county and put in Archuleta County, it would come up with something like 2,500. Well, that's how many are total, but let's say 1,800 organizations that are serving Archuleta County, because all of the statewide organizations are tagged that they serve every county in the state. And so if people are truly looking for an organization, let's say in Archuleta County, then the best place to find those organizations, there's about 15 or so of you that are collecting money on Colorado Gives Day, and it's much easier to find those 15 organizations when you're sifting through 100 than when you're sifting through 1,800, for example. So we do have a question in the chat, and I apologize, I'm slow with talking and reading at the same time. So if we collect credit card numbers throughout pledge form, can we manually enter the credit card number to make the donation on behalf of the donor? So Cindy, do you mind coming off of mute and clarifying your question? Okay, so what I'm reading in that, Cindy, is I don't see why not. If you have permission of your donor to enter it into the site on their behalf through the pledge form, it seems to me that that's between you and your donor, if that makes sense. If your donor gives you permission to enter it into the site. And if that is not your question, please clarify in the chat.
I'll ask a similar question. Can you hear me okay?
You can, yes.
Okay, excellent. My head of school, for example, was asking, we're going to have a fundraiser in the near future. Could we collect like either credit card numbers or donations in cash during this event and then enter them for Colorado Gives Day? My thought was no, but since there was a similar question there, I thought I'd ask.
I guess I'm not familiar with a situation where people allow you to collect their credit card numbers and just hold them.
Yeah, fair enough.
So if I'm thinking in terms of a donor, starting November 1st, you can ask your donors to go to the site and do it themselves. And it counts for Colorado Gives Day. That would be my recommendation. It doesn't seem like best practices to be collecting those credit card numbers, but I know with Cindy, you already have it sounds like it's a separate pledge form and might be part of a different appeal, and they want to do two things at once. The way the system works is donors have to log in and have a profile. I think you can check out as a guest, but you have to enter your email address because all of the tax information, the tax letters and whatnot, go through email. So you have to have a lot of information about the donor to be able to make that donation. In addition to their credit card, you'll definitely need an email, I believe. And I don't think they have to share their physical address. Most of them do. So you'd be collecting a lot of information. I think the smart thing to do is to have, the easiest thing to do is to have November 1, ask them to go to swcogives.org and donate and schedule it for Gives Day. And so with Cindy and her capital campaign, that's a little bit different. The best contact at Community First Foundation, there's a question in the chat, is Jenny Foxworthy. And I'm going to put her name in here as well. She's at that email address that's earlier on in the chat. I think we had some people join. I'm going to copy that over again because I don't think everybody got to see it. And so, oh, I think Jenny is with an I, actually. But so hopefully I've answered that question. Any other questions related to Colorado Gives and any of the year-round giving, the Gives Day? So the way year-round giving works, you'll get a monthly statement and a spreadsheet. If you're brand new to Colorado Gives, they give you lots of good information. As I mentioned earlier, you'll get the name and the email address immediately when someone makes a donation. So you could respond immediately with an email to say thank you. You can always log in and get more information. And then once a month, they'll give you a big spreadsheet with all the information. They do 2 payouts in December since Colorado Gives Day is so big. There's some monthly giving that people have reoccurring that aren't associated with Colorado Gives Day. So you will get your Colorado Gives Day either electronic transfer, there is ACH, or a check in the mail by the end of the year with your payout. Typically, it's the first week of the following month for the other 11 months of the year. Sally, what's your question?
Thank you. Couple of questions, please. Well, first, a comment. Geothermal Greenhouse Partnership has always used PayPal on our website and our in-person events. And you're correct that PayPal would not allow us to collect people's credit card information and put it into PayPal for them. That would raise lots of red flags. And so here's my question. If I'm not mistaken, I heard you say, Tracy, that we could transition away from that credit card company and use only Colorado Gives, and Colorado Gives would take less of a cut, and we would communicate with our donors, including sustaining members of our organization, that their funds would be collected differently through Colorado Gives instead of PayPal. And the buttons on our website could transition to Colorado Gives. Is that correct?
Exactly. It looks like Montezuma School to Farm switched from PayPal to CO Gives. The Community Foundation did the same thing 4 years ago. We had been using PayPal, and we just changed our donate button to link directly to Colorado Gives site. Anybody, the only ones it would affect that would notice something different are your sustaining donors, and you'd have to have them go in and make that commitment again.
Right.
It's a nice system. You get your money monthly. The reporting is high quality. We like it a lot, and the 2% is fantastic.
That's right. Okay, thank you. I may be back in touch about this. It's not my decision to make, of course, but thank you. This is
it's something to think about. Yeah.
For this moment. So
we were very happy to get away from PayPal.
Well, we use PayPal because it's so well known and people trust it, you know, other than there lesser known systems for nonprofits that no one's ever heard of, including us. And so this is great because people have heard of Colorado Gives. It's actually, I think, an added level of trustworthiness. So
I agree. Okay, there's a few comments in the chat, and I will just follow up. QR codes work great. In fact, I'll do a little show and tell. This is our coffee sleeve that you'll see in coffee shops all around our region. Well, this is last year's. Our color scheme has changed. I'll get into that in a minute. But we put a QR code that goes to swcogives.org. And you guys can certainly make a QR code that would take people directly to your site for donations for you. Those work great. And there's a lot of free places you can go to get a QR code for free online. Okay, if there's no more questions on that, I will jump to some of those marketing kind of clarifications. And we can always circle back around. You guys are welcome to, at any time, put a question in the chat or just unmute or raise your hand, and we will try and get all your questions answered. So I'm going to share my screen again. We are the regional champion. And so we have some of our own assets that we share with our organizations. So let me find my Google Drive. So I have already shared this link to the Google Drive. I can put it in the chat though. Let's see here. actually. So if anybody wants to pull it up, there's not a lot in there, but you can at least share, or you can save that link. This again. So there'll be lots of folders. In fact, soon you'll see the recording of this video in here, so that all the other organizations, there's about 100 of you this year, which is great, will be able to come here and find assets. So most of these folders are empty right now, but you'll find copies of some social media posts. You can see that the Zoom background that I'm using is in there. We've got a few of the graphics that have been given to us from the Community First Foundation. So the whole statewide event is using the orange and green color scheme. They've been using it for years, and they've solidified it that these are going to be the colors that they're going to use. So this year we've revised our logo to be orange and green, so it better matches the statewide assets. Let's see if I can reload this page. I wanted to show you our Facebook. I don't know where it went. Those are our old colors right there, the primary colors. But what you'll see is that this logo is now going to be this shade of green and this shade of orange. This is our local site right here. So I'd like you, especially you guys who whose organizations have been on last year or even previous years to that, I would like you to not go to old Google sites to grab the old information with the primary colors, because we're going to do our best to transition over to just the green and the orange. That being said, I have some huge banners and some signs that I'll probably use until we get them printed, especially if we're not going to be in person much this winter. It's hard to tell. So we might continue to utilize some of it and slowly get it reprinted as the budget allows. So speaking of the budget, the people that make our marketing opportunities possible are the Community Foundation, the Ballantine Family Fund, and First Southwest Bank. Those are our local sponsors, and we would love for you guys to show lots of love to those local sponsors. You will find some assets, some marketing graphics, logos, those types of things in the nonprofit toolkit on the Colorado Gives site, the statewide site. And those are mostly the green and orange. And you can use any of those as well as our graphics. The logo for Colorado Gives Day includes the statewide sponsor of First Bank. And we don't have a local First Bank, I want to say chapter, but that's not the right word, a local branch of First Bank here. We have permission, because we don't have a First Bank here, to have a different bank sponsor for Southwest Bank. And there's no relation between the two. Their names are just a little similar. Lisa's question of if they're separate, the campaigns, they're not. They go hand in hand. So Colorado Gives Day is statewide. The tag, Give Where You Live, the statewide organization recognizes that it is more trustworthy, kind of like Sally was mentioning with some of the online credit cards, where they say, I don't know that, I'm not going to pay online with that. But if there's a local connection, so there's about a dozen, maybe 14 regional champions across the state that the Community First Foundation has come into partnership. We're one of them in the Southwest. We cover 5 counties, and then donors have a higher level of trust when it's the Community Foundation, when it's the Ballantine Family Fund, when it's First Southwest Bank, where we have lots of banks in our area, where we say this is us. This is Giving Where You Live. This is trustworthy. So we are in partnership with CO Gives. And as I discussed a little bit earlier, we can send our donors to SWCO Gives. And if you go to that site, you will see that it is the same site. Let me pull it up and show you what I mean by that. When you go to SWCO Gives, if you look up here at the URL, it's coloradogives.org/. So, even if you just enter in swcogives.org, see, we're all one big happy family. And then when you click, if let's say you're the Cortez Cultural Center, this is your personal URL where you can direct people to. You can stop right there at overview, or you can stop right there just at the end of your name. That's your URL. You also can take out the middle part and shorten it. And it's coloradogives.org/ and then your name, whatever you entered in when you set up your profile. And that is your personal link that takes you to your About page and lets people make a donation directly to you. So hopefully I have answered that question about how they work together. In the past, some of our colors didn't match. We definitely spent the last 5 years helping Southwest Colorado donors, potential donors, understand what is Colorado Gives Day, because it's very Front Range centric. There was $50 million raised last year on one day in December, and 500,000 was raised in our 5 counties. So 500,000 sounds fantastic. And then you hear, wow, 50 million in the rest of the state. A lot of that's happening on the Front Range. And so we want our donors to know and trust. That's why there's so many regional champions. So you will have all kinds of assets. We'll give you social media posts. We will post ourselves on Facebook, and my page won't load at the moment, but we can try and reload it, but I'll put in the chat where you guys will find us on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram. And we will, as the Community Foundation and as Southwest Colorado Gives, we post for all 100. When we started 5 years ago, there was only 29 organizations, and only about 100,000, a little over 100,000 was raised. And so we have grown the number of nonprofits participating tremendously. We have grown the dollars that are donated tremendously over the last 5 years. We've got a lot of momentum. And so you guys should see a lot of success when you reach out to your donors and say, hey, we're on Colorado Gives, or find us on Southwest Colorado Gives, donate to us here. They should know what you're talking about, because we've laid the groundwork for the folks in our region to understand what's happening. Some of the marketing things that we coordinate with our $10,000 budget from our sponsors is going to be coffee sleeves, and they'll be in coffee shops from Cortez, Mancos, Durango, La Plata, and then in Pagosa. We've got lots of good coffee shop partners. And so people, when they get their morning cup of coffee, can just scan the QR code and donate right from their phone. It's an online opportunity. So we have a lot of people who say, can my donors donate by check? And they can't. This is a different kind of opportunity. You, of course, can accept a check from your donor, but this is an online giving initiative, and people, if they trust it, they'll put in their credit card. They've got opportunities to reoccurring gifts via the site. They can do an annual gift every year on Colorado Gives Day. They can check that box so they can always give to you on Colorado Gives Day. It's a very user-friendly site in that respect. We also will do print ads in newspapers all across the region. We'll do online ads, so people who get their news online can click right through to the site. Again, we're very online heavy. We will post about it on social media with links that take people to the site. And then you guys can use all those same graphics that will be shared very soon in in the Google Drive. Let me share my screen one more time and show you. So on the 24th of September, I sent an email that talked about a booklet that we send to the community foundation donors, our donor advised funds and friends of the foundation. So this is last year's online giving booklet. It's very similar to the website itself in terms of people can go there and they can learn about organizations. But this is going to be updated, obviously. We'll do the new color scheme, and you guys all have the opportunity to share your specific ask for the year end 2021. And let's see, I got to move the window over so I can flip through these books for you. And these are live links. So you can click right there. The donor can will receive this booklet, and they can click through and donate to any of these organizations. So the deadline to get your information into me so that we can put this booklet together is October 15th. And it's a Google form. I'll put that in the chat as well. And it's pretty simple. You're just going to give me the same logo that's on your site so that when they click through, they don't say to themselves, wait, this doesn't look the same. And you're going to give me your URL, which I showed you earlier how to find, coloradogives.org / the name of your organization. And you'll give me your blurb. 80 words would be great. Can't be more than 100. And let me grab that form link for you. And I'll put that in the chat so you can have it there as well. Again, it was in an email that went out earlier. Okay, Lisa, your question is about sponsors. Does anyone else you know of do that? Well, some other regional champions have sponsorships, so I guess I'm not exactly sure. We don't want you individually to have to find sponsors for Colorado Gives Day. We do it as regional champion for you and have that opportunity, and we do our best to share that love with our sponsors and with thank yous. You can put it in posts and in your email blasts. Let me show you our site. They're listed down at the bottom of the site for Southwest Bank and Ballantine Family Fund, and then of course the Community Foundation. So individually, nonprofits should not go find sponsors, but overall, that's the budget that allows us to have this big collaboration to help our potential donors know what Colorado Gives Day is all about. So what is on your coffee sleeves is for the general day. Everything that I do is for the general day. What this says is be a hero, contribute to your choice of 85 plus, that was last year, local nonprofits on December 8th, 2020. It gives the website. And then on the back, it says Colorado Gives Day is spearheaded locally by the Community Foundation serving Southwest Colorado. And there's a QR code that takes people to swcogives.org. So then that's the site I had just pulled up. And then they can peruse through the 100 organizations and find some they want to donate to. That we use QR codes on our print ads as well. When we advertise on like the Durango Herald's website, the Pagosa Sun's website, we're in their banners and people can just click straight through. And again, it goes to the whole site for all 100 of you. So we definitely want you guys sending your donors. If you're not using your own link directly to your site, we want you to send swcogives.org, not coloradogives.org, because that's how we keep our donors understanding that they're giving where they live. Okay. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to make sure you guys understood about how Colorado Gives Day all works and what we're going to be providing you over the next month or so. On Facebook, we do promise to tag every organization at least once in one of our posts. So please know that if you are an organization that does human services and youth, for example, and let's say you also do, youth and arts and culture. If your organization falls under multiple sectors and you don't see yourself in the first post, let's say we do youth organizations, sort of an umbrella, and we tag a bunch of organizations and you don't see yourself, but then when we do you might be online to be tagged with our arts and culture organizations. We try and spread it out. So we have 5 different sectors. We do certain county collaborations, and we'll do, here's all the organizations in Archuleta County, please give where you live. So if you can reach out to me if you have very specific organization that you want your in a certain sector, please let me know. Otherwise, be patient. We promise you'll be in there if you at least once, if you your organization wears multiple hats, that happens quite a bit. And we will be sure to get you tagged. And then you can share those posts. You can do lots of your own posts. It seems to be a good opportunity for social media marketing since it's all online. Also, we do county collaborations. So I might have an office hours Zoom for Montezuma County organizations, La Plata County organizations, Archuleta, so forth. And then you guys can talk amongst yourselves. And the organizations could get together. One year, Montezuma did obviously before COVID, they did a trivia night at one of the local brew pubs, and they invited people out, but it was something that they organized mostly on their own and invited people for the trivia. Each organization got up and read a little bit about their organization, and then those were the trivia questions. And there's lots of fun opportunities like that. COVID has changed the way we market this, and we have gone more online. And it makes sense because it's an online fundraiser. You need people with that ability to donate right away. In the past, we'd gone to coffee shops and had iPads for people to be able to use, but people don't love putting their credit card on somebody else's iPad. And we've done honk and waves in Durango, where we stand on street corners. It was very cold on December 7th at 7 in the morning. So in some respects, we're fine with just being an online appeal and don't have to do things in person. So we'll see how each county decides for themselves if they want to do something fun and in person and have some sort of rally. They do a statewide rally every year. We can do local rallies, but we have typically kept it up to each county to decide what they want to do. All right, any other questions from you guys? Happy to send the recording. I'll probably actually post it in the Google Drive, but I can certainly send a link via email too. And Cindy, it looks like I just answered your question. We will definitely do the office hours like we have done in the past, and each county can get together. Any other questions? I know some of you are brand new to all of this, and maybe I started too broad or too specific. Feel free to, if you don't have any more questions, you can go ahead and log out. If you want to stay on with something highly specific, let me know. I'm happy to stick around. The Storyvine program was a video opportunity last year, and through Community First Foundation, and they have decided not to do that again. I loved them, so I was a little disappointed. I thought they were very fun, but they do not have that contract to be able to do Storyvine videos for free this year. They do have lots of fun prizes that are available, so it's a good idea to pay attention to that kind of thing. And then sometimes $1,000 check just pops up into your disbursement one month because you were chosen for one of those prizes. A lot of that is made available through First Bank. That's why they're right there in the logo. Anything else? Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm always available if you've got any questions. Happy to have you reach out and let me know if I can help in any way, okay? You guys have a good week.